Did you see, was it a couple trips ago where I screwed up on that? Because there's a guy Bob helping me.
Excuse me.
I wasn't watching Bob roll it up. I'm moving. 18, right?
But everything marked here is marked with template A. Here's template A, and let me show you how that's set up. Let me grab one of these woods. So this piece of wood is just going to be used for the templates, and it'll stay here till we're done with all the 2x4s. But for this page, we're on template A, so I'm going to set up template A here. It says A here as well. I'm going to make sure that it's nice and tight against here. So another thing to know is these boards are usually stapled with the barcode on one side. Avoid that. Put the barcode down there so you don't have the staple hitting here and give you some inaccuracy. So we clamp this down. I didn't clamp it down right on the end because I need a little information there for these X markings that are in blue. What do we call those X markings? Stud markings?
You tell us.
I'm not an expert in construction. I just know this template. All right, so we just want that, on there straight, not falling off while we do this, because we're going to use this while we're on this page. What we want to remember is when we transition pages, we also transition templates. And the next template might be on the back side of this. In this case, it is. B is we just flip it over. Okay, so blue on here is reserved for that blue stud marks. All the other colors are telling us which piece of wood we're marking. So the first, you'll see on here that the first line is red. So when we mark that, we're going to be looking for the red, but marking black. Everything else is marking black because those are cut lines and labels. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to show you. So we're doing cut lines and labels here in black, and then stud lines in blue. Now I need to know how many boards I need here, and all of these sheets are on a one house basis. So I can multiply times 3. Sometimes that's going to be too many for one go, and I'm going to have to do these reds again in another set of 4. So this red is the one that I'm going to mark now. It says 2, so it's 2 per house, but we're making 3 houses, so it's going to be 6. This piece of tape is so I don't lose count of how many I made, because if I mark the wrong number, we're going to cut the wrong number and end up having incorrect, right? So as we're marking it off of here, I'm going to mark it here and make sure I get 6 little dots on there. So then I'll be done and I'll move on to the next one, which will be purple. Okay, so I need 2 here, but I really need 6 because we're doing 3 houses, and I can put 4 or even 6 on here. Remember, if I can do 6 over here. Look at that, no staples, we're still happy. All right, so as the person doing the marking, I always want to look here and tell the person that's assisting me to push down. These 2 in here need to be pushed.
This way. Oh.
All right, so we have these nice long speed squares, so we can do up to 6 at a time if 6 are needed. So in this case, we can. And these first few that come off here, there's not a lot of marks on them for cutting. But they're the marks for the studs. So let me show. So first, and the reason we do this in pairs is because you can't have one person doing the cut lines and the labels, the other person following with the blue and doing the stud lines right behind them. So that works. In this case, I'm going to do bold for the demo. What I'm looking for is right now only red. So you'll see each line here has a different color. So all I care about is red. So if I look along here and I see something that's not red, I ignore it. Okay. And
I see one red thing here. Is that what you're looking for here?
Yep. So I'm in black. I'm looking for red lines with a red label if I'm doing black. If I'm doing blue, I'm looking for blue X's with a little red mark on them.
So this says Liz.
So I'm going down here. I don't see any red except for these X's. And I get down here. Now that's actually brown. So
Like
yeah,
tan and brown.
Yep. And the red is right here at the end. And I'm gonna move this over a little bit. Is right here at the end. And remember, when I'm marking these, I'm marking on center. So on center when you're marking and on center when you're cutting. In this case, it's so, there's a couple of boards that are slightly longer. You see that? Some are already at the 12 foot, so I'm not even going to put any Sharpie on them.
Home Depot's lumber is always like a 1/4 to 3/8 longer.
Okay.
So that's important to mark that, to cut that 1/4 inch off to be a true 144.
I can't forget to put the label on. So I'm on red. I would have put the black line on here, but there's nowhere to put the black line. I'm off the edge. And so I'm just putting the label, which is 10-1. 10 is the assembly station, so that's where it ends up going.
And how do you know that number? Where do you find that number on your chart, or is it?
It's right here.
Oh,
Right here on the tape.
So it's okay.
So you see how that red line, come up close so you can see.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a vertical line that way in red, and then a little flag to where the label is.
And if we didn't mention this at some point, if you haven't heard it, the reason this all came about was before we had letters. And when all that was cut and you had letters, you had one person with a piece of paper trying to tell everybody where all that stuff went. So now by changing it over to a numbered system, you know, anybody that picks up something that's come off the saws goes, I don't know what that is, I just know I need to take it down to station number 10. And we have 10 signs with those numbers on them, so you're mobilizing those people to just start working and doing things. And then at the stations, we have the diagrams, and this second number is the part number. So they can just sit there and look, oh, okay, they start putting it all together, not nail it. So all those people that used to stand around, now they're doing stuff. And so it's a lot easier, and it's not one person sitting there with a piece of paper trying to tell everybody where to go with this one, 6 pieces of lumber. So we've seen it work really well on that end.
So remember, you're doing this in pairs. You don't have to, but there's a black pen and then the blue pen. I just went down here. Most of the time, there's going to be a bunch of black lines for cuts because we're going to be cutting this stuff up into lots of pieces. These first ones, it's the full length of the wall. So, and there's only one in this case, and it happens to be that it's already cut at the 12. So that's all it is for my black line. But when you're doing black lines, what's easy to remember is I'm doing black cut lines and labels. That's that combination thing, and that's what I just did there. And then the person following does, okay, I'm doing blue, not cut lines. These are just reference lines for assembly, and I'm doing. Now we're still on red though. This is the red boards. So I'm looking for red as far as the X's, and I see one right here. So I could put this blue and do my stud references. Because I saw red there, and I'm looking red. Oh, here's another red. So I'm gonna do so the second person would really be doing it why the first person is doing the X's, or doing the cuts. Here's another red. Red.
Because it has the red dot.
This orange?
Yeah, it's orange.
Okay.
Yeah, be careful. There's red and orange, and they don't always.
Similar now.
Yeah, they're a little similar. So what you can do, and what I like to do, especially for the cuts, is because the colors could be a little off, but I get used to when I see the if I'm doing red, I can tell how many cut boards are coming out of this. In this case, it's just.
And there you have that, a little rundown on the new layout system.
for Hands and Mercy's Loft House. Good luck. See you around.